Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it. It's AFR LSU, your home for daily content on your favorite team, Fighting Tigers of LSU. And we're proud to be presented by BetUS, where this football season, get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use the promo code YouTube150. Now, enjoy the video.
I also want to congratulate Baylor and certainly, Dave Aranda and the success that they've had at Baylor this season. I think they've won 6 in a row, playing as well as anybody in the country. So, familiar with Dave, a great football coach. He was part of the LSU championship team. So, a lot of familiarity here and should make for a great game between two teams that are looking to continue momentum going into 2025.
It is LSU Baylor in the Texas Bowl coming up New Year's Eve, 2:30 in the afternoon. Travis Roeder covers the Bears for SicEm365. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, Travis, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. It's a warm, balmy day here in Waco, but enjoying the sunshine.
Is it really warm there?
It's like 78, 80 degrees or something like that.
78 here as well. We're living our same reality here in the middle of December.
Yes, sir.
Similar reality for both teams. A couple teams finishing 8-4, find themselves in the Texas Bowl. What's the reaction up there to drawing LSU in this game?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, the Big 12, any of the Big 12 schools, especially the ones that have kind of been there for a while, the whole reaction to Texas and OU leaving, and of course, for many of us before that, of Texas A&M and Missouri leaving before that, there's always kind of this, we're not little brother mentality. But, at the same time, it's very exciting to, always get to play against kind of a name brand program. And for a lot of Baylor fans who are in Texas, we know plenty of LSU people. And, LSU is obviously a national brand. And it's kind of funny because, Baylor's main rival, TCU, they finished with the same record this year, but Baylor beat TCU head-to-head. And TCU is playing I can't even remember, it's like New Mexico State or something like that in some other bowl. So it kind of shows you how, you can win a really good draw or a really bad draw, and I think overall Baylor fans are really excited.
The Dave Aranda angle here is going to draw a lot of attention. Of course, Dave was a member of the 2019 National Championship staff. He's really revered here. But, man, after a 6-win and a 3-win season, it certainly seemed like he entered the season on a hot seat. They start 2-4, and then 6 in a row. How stable are things there with Aranda in Waco?
Well, it's kind of crazy to think that things could be super stable after how tumultuous last season was. I would say, obviously, there's no Pew Research poll on what percentage of Baylor fans, thought that Aranda would make it through this year, but I would be surprised if it was a majority. So I think, the majority of fans kind of thought this would not work out this year. And so it's been quite the turnaround, and, going from 2-4 when everyone expected it to kind of just go the way a lot of people thought it would go this offseason, which was poorly. And, rip off 6 in a row. Things are pretty stable. And I think that's a really big deal for the program just because with all of the paying player stuff now and how athletic departments don't really know what their budget's going to be year to year, just all the changes and the legislation and everything, the last thing you want to do is fork over tens of millions of dollars to hire a new staff. So, it's really big for them to have that stability now.
We'll get right back to the video, but love telling you about our friends at BetUS, where right now you can get a 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next two deposits, up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. No LSU game, but the college football playoff right here on the horizon. You want to lock in your bet? Let me show you how easy this is. You go to the football tab, hit the drop down, you'll see college football. Here's those lines. I'm going to tell you one thing I know about James Franklin there at Penn State. They don't call him Big Game Jim or Big Game James or Big Game Jim or whatever they call him like that for nothing. Because he stinks in big games. I don't care if this is at Happy Valley at noon. You're going to give me SMU. I don't care if it's freezing cold. You're going to give me that offense against a Penn State team that can't win a big game, and you're going to give me 8.5 points. I'm gobbling up every one of those, and hopefully give me even more. So it's so easy. Hit the risk box, place your wager. Couple of taps that'll ask you to confirm, and just like that, you're locked in. Big Game Jim or James or whatever they call him, yeah, give me 8.5 with SMU. I'll take that all the way to the bank. And remember, it's just that easy. Go to BetUS, use the promo code YouTube150, get a 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000. Remember, use the promo code YouTube150. Now, enjoy the rest of the video. I mean, opt-outs are obviously a huge conversation in literally every bowl game we talk about. Any significant opt-outs, portal exits there for Baylor that could impact the game on New Year's Eve?
Unless I'm missing something, no. I don't think a single starter has announced anything like that. And
wow.
Honestly, I don't even think really anybody significantly on the 2 deep. I mean, I think there's a few depth players that maybe would play if somebody was injured, but nothing significant.
Dave Aranda obviously has the reputation of being a great defensive coordinator. And Travis Roeders, our guest from SicEm365, covers the Baylor Bears. But it's interesting, and I haven't seen a ton of Baylor this year, but I have seen enough, and I could certainly look at box scores. It certainly seems like the offense outpaced the defense this season. What's going on there defensively for Baylor this season?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because in some sense, Aranda has saved his job, but it wasn't with a hallmark Aranda defense. And so I think that still kind of leaves some questions for this offseason of whether that can turn around for future seasons. Because I think if you have Dave Aranda as your head coach, you want to see some great, Aranda standard defenses that we haven't seen over the last few years. But you're certainly right. I mean, the offense was kind of, no matter what advanced metric you look at, this is a top 25 offense nationally and probably even better than that. But I mean, the main turnaround, honestly, is Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator. He's kind of been at a few different, Big 12 type schools over the past decade. He was at A&M forever ago,
sure.
Sumlin, and he's with Holgerson at West Virginia. And most recently, he was at Cal and took them from a typically bad offense to a very good offense last year. And, I think even out there, it's pretty much out there. He turned down Oklahoma and he turned down Texas Tech and a few other places already this offseason. So he's a guy that failed as a head coach at Texas State, but I think, another year or two here at Baylor, the offense remains as good as it is. He'll be a Power 4, or at least some sort of head coach here sooner than later. I mean, he's just done a really good job turning offenses around everywhere he's been recently.
What can you tell us about Sawyer Robertson, the quarterback?
He's dynamic. He's very interesting. Apparently, I heard kind of through the grapevine that at one point Mike Leach, who originally recruited him to Mississippi State a few years back, told Sawyer that he was the best quarterback recruit he had ever recruited. Maybe Mike would tell every quarterback recruit that. I don't know. But, I know
I
he told
wouldn't put
Sawyer
anything past Mike Leach, man.
Yeah. But what's really fun, and I think what LSU fans will probably frustratingly learn when they play against him here in a few weeks is that he's really, really good at all the standard stuff. So he just doesn't miss easy throws, and he takes what's available. But he's also a guy that if you manage to get him off schedule, he consistently makes the amazing plays. And I think that's kind of similar. I don't think he's on the level of a Jaden Daniels, but LSU fans will know that very well. He can hit all the ho-hum stuff, but even if he has to escape a rusher and then make a big play downfield, he can do that too. And so it's just that ability to he always has that ace card in his back pocket that, Baylor's offense is going to run very efficiently, kind of down to down. But even on the plays where he needs to make something happen, he can make it happen. But he's just a big kid. He's a great kid. He's a good leader. He's a good athlete. I was kind of skeptical of him being an NFL guy before this year, but I think he is going to end up being that way. Maybe not a starter, maybe more of a backup guy, but he's very talented and he's a fun player to watch.
He's back next year?
Yes.
Yeah. It's so fascinating to see how many guys are choosing to stay, and I think it's maybe one of the benefits of NIL is you are getting guys actually to stay and forego the NFL because they can make money in college. Is there a glaring weakness on either side of the ball for this team right now?
Oh yeah, Baylor's pass defense has been pretty bad all year. They don't just get lit up every single game, but I don't think there's really a game where you can look back and say they played really well in the secondary. And it's kind of funny because they don't necessarily have any. Sometimes you get defenses like that, and it's like, oh yeah, this one corner stinks, and he just can't cover anybody, and he just gets attacked all game. It's not really that way. All of Baylor's players in the secondary seem like they're pretty solid. But I think a lot of it is Aranda's scheme kind of really puts a lot on those guys. He plays a lot of just what's called quarters coverage, which kind of ends up becoming man. And back when I was studying Aranda when he first came over from LSU. that great 2019 defense where he had guys like Kerry Vincent and I can't remember the other DBs off the top of my head at the time.
Derek Stingley,
right.
Grant Delpit, Christian Fulton. I mean, he's all NFL guys, yeah.
Right, yeah, all NFL guys. He had that really good star player, too, that played in the box that was like, 6'1", 230. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Jacoby Stevens.
Yeah, Jacoby Stevens. Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of dudes, and his defense is one where I guess any college defensive coordinator could say if you got a bunch of NFL guys, you can have a good defense. But
turns out it works really good that way, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. But that sometimes that can sound like you're taking it away from the defensive coordinator, but his scheme really kind of puts a lot on those guys, and I think they're just not at the talent level overall where they need to be able to hang on the back end. So I think that's kind of, if there's a clear storyline in this game, especially for LSU's offense versus Baylor's defense, it's, how are they going to hang up? I don't think they're going to hang up well. I think this game is pretty clearly headed towards a shootout, but that is definitely their big weakness.
And one more thing for you, and Travis Roeder is our guest. You can get him on Twitter, X at Travis_Roeder, Roeder from SicEm365 if you want to get your Baylor coverage there. We mentioned sort of the fan interest. I'm going to be interested to see what it kind of looks like maybe in the stadium because Houston is LSU's largest alumni base outside of Louisiana. So you got a lot of, as you mentioned at the beginning, a lot of LSU fans in Texas. What type of Baylor fan presence are you expecting? Is this a game where you expect there will be a good crowd or an even impactful crowd whatsoever at the game?
Well, I think even when Baylor has a really good showing, we kind of always expect, for it to be 60-40 or 70-30 in the other team's direction. It's just a small school. I haven't kept up with how big LSU is these days, but I imagine it's at least 25, 30K undergrad.
That's about right.
And Baylor is at its biggest it's ever been, and it's 13, 14 or something like that. And so it's just the alumni. It's kind of one of those big discussions of Baylor fans all the time is we get complaints about crowd size and stuff, but if you kind of do the math, it's like schools like A&M and LSU have millions of living alumni, whereas for Baylor it's, a couple 100,000 or something like that. So yeah, when we get a really good showing for a stadium like that, I expect it'll be, something like 60-40 or 70-30 LSU fans in the majority, but that depends on how excited LSU fans are about that game, which I haven't really looked into anything like that. What's the kind of sensation on the other end? Are y'all excited to be in this game somewhat?
Look, man, you set a standard where people want championships. No one's going to get excited. It's not anything to do with Baylor. Right. It's just the Texas Bowl. But the benefit of it, Travis, is what I said. You have an enormous LSU alumni population in Texas that doesn't get to watch the team often. So because this game is in Houston, LSU loves playing in Houston because of the alumni and the recruiting. So you will have a lot of LSU fans who live in Houston who will go to this game. Right. So I don't know that you're going to see 70,000 people in the stands, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. They're two pretty evenly matched teams, man. It's an interesting game, to say the very least.
A lot of points. That's my expectation.
Let's take the over, man. Travis Roeder from SicEm365. Y'all can check him out there. We appreciate it. Travis, thanks for the time, man.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thanks so much for watching the video. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, hit the bell so you're notified when we post a new video, and remember to support BetUS, where right now you can get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use that promo code YouTube150.